Across Jamaica, from the heart of bustling Kingston to the tranquil countryside, parents carry a familiar weight. Many, especially in ghettos and garrison communities, grapple with economic hardship. They strive to provide for their children, to offer them a brighter future. This struggle is woven into our very being, a legacy passed down from generations who endured the brutalities of colonialism. But even in the face of these challenges, one thing remains constant: the fierce love for our children and an unyielding hope for their future. Yet how can we truly shape that future when the education system, meant to empower our children, often does the opposite? When the curriculum, instead of reflecting our vibrant history and culture, echoes the very systems that sought to erase them. This is not merely a question of textbooks and exams. It is about the very soul of a nation, the aspirations of a people. We, the inheritors of a powerful legacy of resilience and resistance, must ask ourselves, what future are we building for our children if their education remains tethered to a past that sought to diminish us? The time has come to reclaim our narrative, to ensure our children's education reflects not only who we were, but, more importantly, who we are and who we aspire to be. This is not just a fight for our children, it's a fight for Jamaica's soul. The right to education is not some abstract concept confined to dusty law books. It is a fundamental human right, enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This declaration, adopted by the United Nations in 1948, recognizes the inherent dignity and equal rights of all human beings. It explicitly states in Article 26 that everyone has the right to education. More importantly, it emphasizes that education should be directed to the full development of the human personality. But what does this mean for us, for Jamaican parents? It means we have a fundamental right to choose the kind of education our children receive. An education that not only imparts knowledge but also nurtures their creativity, critical thinking, and self-esteem. An education that reflects our history, our culture, our values. An education that empowers them to become active, engaged citizens, not passive subjects of a system designed to perpetuate inequality. We must be vigilant, for the legacy of colonialism casts a long shadow. The right to choose our children's education is not merely a legal right, it is a moral imperative, a sacred duty we owe to our ancestors and future generations. We must stand firm in our demand for an education system that reflects our aspirations and empowers our children to create a future worthy of their potential. Our children deserve an education that empowers, not one that echoes the shackles of the past. For too long, the education system in Jamaica has been shackled to a colonial past. The curriculum, often outdated and irrelevant, fails to reflect the richness of our history, the vibrancy of our culture, and the dynamism of our people. It perpetuates harmful stereotypes, glorifies colonial narratives, and neglects the contributions of our African ancestors. This is not education, it is indoctrination disguised as learning. Imagine a young mind, eager to learn, being fed a diet of information that diminishes their identity, that presents a distorted view of their history, that fails to nurture their unique talents and aspirations. This is the reality for far too many Jamaican children. They are taught to memorize dates and names, often with little context or connection to their lived experiences. They are rarely encouraged to question, to think critically, to challenge the status quo. How can we expect our children to excel, to reach their full potential, when the very system designed to nurture their growth is rooted in a paradigm that seeks to limit them? The time has come to dismantle this neocolonial education system and replace it with one that is truly liberating, one that celebrates our heritage and empowers our children to become architects of their own destiny. Our children are not empty vessels to be filled with colonial remnants. They are flames waiting to be ignited with knowledge, pride, and purpose. We cannot afford to be passive observers in the education of our children. Our financial support is crucial to dismantling the neo-colonial education system and building a new one that truly serves the needs of our community. This is not simply about donating money. It's about investing in the liberation of our children's minds. Every dollar we contribute to supporting community-based educational initiatives, to purchasing culturally relevant books and resources, to advocating for curriculum reform, is a step towards reclaiming our narrative. It is an act of resistance against a system that has for too long marginalized our history, our culture, and our potential. Some may ask, Why should we have to pay for what should be provided by the government? The answer is simple. Our children's education is not a privilege. It is their birthright. We cannot wait for a system that has consistently failed us to suddenly change. We must take ownership of our children's education and invest in the future we want to see for them. Our financial contributions are not charity. They are an investment in our children's future, a down payment on the liberation of their minds.